All right, guys, welcome back. We are on episode number 20 of the Totally Worth It podcast. My name's Kendall.
And I'm Haley.
And we are your hosts.
We made it.
We made it. 20 episodes. We are on video right now.
I hate it.
All the beautiful people right there.
I'm not looking at it anymore.
Face reveals. You know?
Yeah, no.
We're here. We're alive and we're
They
well.
saw our face reveal in the profile picture.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But that was a still shot. You know, this is real time.
That's worse. That's worse.
No, we're here. Haley's had a lot of anxiety moving up to this, and she has conquered it. And by conquered it, I mean I have forced her to do it. So,
yeah, I didn't really have an option.
Nope, no option. So we made it 20 episodes. They say that 90% of podcasts don't ever even make it past 20 episodes.
Really?
Yeah. So we're in the top 10%, baby.
Nice.
Killing it.
Yeah, we are.
Killing it. How are you, dear?
I'm good. It's a little late.
It is a little late.
It was our fault. So
Priorities, you know.
yeah.
Why are we recording this so late?
Because we
Tell the
had to
people.
watch the season finale of American Idol.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. If there's any American Idol fans out there, we have. Well, she's been following it longer than I have, but
I've watched the whole season.
Yeah, that would be following it longer than I have.
But you make it sound like I've watched all of American Idol.
No, but you still watched a lot more than I have.
I mean, no.
Well, you watched a lot of The Voice.
Yeah, I like The Voice.
But anyway, she's been watching American Idol, and I kind of got on board with top 20-ish or something like that.
About top 20.
I'm good in that area. Once it gets to that,
He doesn't like hearing people's stories.
I don't care about all that. I just want to hear them sing and
then
figure out
vote.
and then think who's the best. You know?
I do like American Idol because they perform, you vote, and they go home same episode.
Yeah, that's nice. I do like that.
It moves
'Cause
quick.
you don't have to wait until the next week and see
Yeah.
who's eliminated and all that stuff.
I do like
And there's a lot of really, really good singers. But the thing about American Idol that really irks my nerves is that America gets to vote. Because America be wrong a lot.
Well, then you should vote.
No.
Well, then don't complain.
I'm going to complain.
It's just
because
like
there's
the election.
Some people who legit can't sing and make it way further than some people who are just like bombshell singers.
Yeah, well.
And
It is what it is.
you know, I don't know.
Either way, the girl that we knew from the get-go, we knew she was going to win.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, Abby Carter won.
Yeah.
And she was just unbelievable.
I still think my favorite performance of hers was that Evanescence song.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
She just like became a different person.
She killed that.
She
That
killed
also
it.
took everyone back to the early 2000s.
Yes.
And just put everybody in a mood.
But can we talk about Bon Jovi tonight?
Yeah,
because
Bon Jovi.
That's got me in a mood.
Because they opened up with that too. And it
Yeah.
was like Living on a Prayer. And then what's the other Bon Jovi song they did? Never.
I don't know.
I can't remember either.
I'm the worst with the names of songs. I
just
just know them. I just know lyrics.
Never say never. That's Justin Bieber.
Please don't.
It was something like that. It was good. You can tell that we were not born in the Bon Jovi era.
I love Bon Jovi and I know most of his songs, but like naming songs, I don't know. But you start like if I hear it,
But I bet
can
if
sing
you
it.
name some of those songs around our parents, then they would know exactly what.
Oh
song
yeah,
they
my
were.
mom would know for sure.
But yeah, that was cool with Bon Jovi. He rocked.
Yeah, he did.
But I couldn't believe that the wheel guy
I knew.
made it to. I mean, he does have a really good voice, and I enjoyed hearing him sing.
I like his music.
But just about every song that he sings, I mean, that's all that he's got.
But I mean, they pick songs that really catered to his voice, which is, what you're supposed to do.
But I just thought that the Jack guy was more talented.
No.
Vocally. I mean,
I don't know. He ain't got that
that
grit.
Yeah, I get it, I guess.
But I told you from the get go with that wheel guy, I was like, he'll be.
Yeah, that was crazy. Every week I was like, yeah, he's going home.
And
he's
I'm like,
going home.
no, he's not.
And he kept staying in. So anyway, we've been watching American Idol. Now it's over. Thank goodness. So now Sunday nights can be more peaceful. We can find something else to watch.
I mean, to be fair, this is the first time we've actually watched it on a Sunday night.
And we have YouTube TV, so you can't record it. So we came home from church, and she was watching it. I was watching it
in the car. It started
on the way home, and then we got in and was watching it. We were cooking, washing dishes. Joe was running around flinging steak and green beans everywhere.
They're singing at the top of their lungs on the TV.
Yeah, she's hollering. The dog's running around, and we're just like laser focused. Like we're getting real good at that.
Yeah.
At that, like looking at something through the chaos.
Oh, I feel like I've been able to do
listening through it instead of to it.
Yeah.
That's what we used to say in the click track world.
Yeah. Listen
through it, not to it. But anyway. So American Idol was good.
Yeah. It was good.
Is there anything else besides our main topic that we were going to talk about today?
I don't know. You got any little things?
Oh, my stomach is making some really weird noises. I don't know if they can pick it up on the mic. We're in what week? Tomorrow will be 2 weeks of us doing the carnivore diet.
Yeah.
So my little things list keeps growing, and it's nothing but food items and drinks.
But see, I feel like mine's getting smaller because the cravings for it aren't there anymore.
No. Food maybe. Yeah. Drinks is
I will say today when we were eating lunch, I really was like, man, I could kill for some sweet tea.
Oh, man.
But I mean, other than some sweet tea, I mean, I've never cared about sodas anyways.
I have though over this past week, I have lost a little bit of that desire for that McDonald's Coke.
Good. That's what's supposed to happen.
But I'm going to enjoy a carbonated drink
after 30 days
when this is over.
Yeah.
And so I went to the store yesterday and I bought a 2 liter of Sprite Zero.
He came home and was like, I know the answer is probably no, but do you think we could drink this? There's no calories. There's no sugar. There's no nothing. And I was like, did it come from an animal? Then no.
I was like, the water kind of maybe. I don't know.
Where do you think water comes from?
Peed it out. I don't know.
You are really stretching that. No.
She's our diet warden, and I keep trying to come up with ways to cheat.
You want me to give in so bad. But because you want me to, it's making me not want to that much more.
Yeah. And I want to more than anything I've ever wanted to quit.
And I feel like you won't just because you don't want to disappoint me.
I don't, because this is your thing.
No, this is our thing.
It's our thing, but you asked me to do it with you.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it with you.
I know. Thank you.
And we went to what is that thing we went to?
We went to the Red Rose Festival.
The Red Rose Festival. And
didn't bother me one bit.
Yeah, maybe you. But I went down the aisle that had...
We were all on the same aisle.
I'm saying... Well, clearly not.
I was
mentally,
there.
You were in a different place, but I was there. And there was this smell of corn dogs and blooming onions and funnel cakes, lemonade, popcorn. It was just everywhere.
He was like, can we please just like have one cheap meal and then we'll get right back on track.
I was about to tear up. I was just begging.
No.
But we didn't do it, and I held strong. And I even went to someone's birthday party today, and they asked me, hey, do you want something to drink? And I said, no, I've got water. I'm doing this diet. My wife's going to kill me if I cheat. And she's probably going to text y'all and ask you if I cheated. And they were like, well, just eat something then. And I was like, can't really do that either.
You could have, though. You could have ate a burger.
And they cooked burgers, and it looked good. It really did. But anyway, I just got out of there before any of the temptation expounded on it.
Right. I feel like y'all are all in agreement just to lie to me.
No. I promise you I'd look a lot happier if I was lying to you about it. But yeah, that's going good. We've lost some more pounds this week.
Yeah. We're at 11 apiece.
11 pounds apiece.
So we're 22 pounds. We've lost 22 pounds
22
combined.
Pounds in 2 weeks. So we tacked another 5 on from last week. Because we were at, 17 last week?
I think so.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway. Speaking of chaos and children.
Yeah.
Why don't you open up our main topic for tonight, since you're the queen of the castle?
Oh, God. So over the past probably like 6 months, I would say, we've had a lot of people ask, and they don't know, so they don't mean anything by it, but we've had a lot of people just make comments about like, oh, when's Joe gonna get a brother or sister? Y'all ready to have another one? When are y'all gonna have another one? Like just that kind of thing, which it doesn't really bother me because I mean, if they don't know us, then I mean they don't know,
and
they just expect pretty much everybody that once their kid hits like 3 or 4, they're like popping out another one.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just.
And I always immediately hit them with the no.
I know, and I just want to be like, dude, just be like, oh, no, not right now. I mean, you just have to like go into total defense mode. Like, it's so ridiculous.
It's my thing.
Yeah, but like, you ain't got to come across that way. Because not everybody needs to know.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyways.
But they can.
Well, I mean, they're about to. So
they're about to, yeah.
But no, Joe will be our one and only biological child. Unless literally the good Lord performs a miracle.
I mean, unless a miracle happens.
Yeah. Which has happened.
It has happened.
But
I hope it doesn't happen to us.
I'm kind of praying it doesn't.
But it has happened.
But it's not like we didn't intentionally, or we didn't plan on only having one kid. We planned on having
multiple kids.
We planned on 2 and like the third being an accident or something like that. But that's not really, I guess, what God saw fit.
Yeah, I guess so.
I say that, but like we did take it into our own hands, but I also feel like there were things that led to that decision.
And so we, based on Joe's birth, we decided along with doctors' recommendations that we were not going to have any more biological kids.
Right.
The reason.
So, I mean, I guess like I gotta kind of give a little bit of a backstory.
Yeah, for sure. Do it.
So
unfold the history.
So I had such a good pregnancy. Like I was never sick, no morning sickness. I mean, the worst probably symptom I had was that I was so tired.
Yeah,
and
she only saw me like 3 days out of her whole pregnancy because she was asleep the rest of the time.
Oh my gosh. But no, I was working up until like the last trimester. And I mean, I had like your normal feet swelling. My blood pressure was like automatically running a little higher than normal.
Yeah.
So that there was like a watch on that for a while. And then eventually I had to go on blood pressure medication for that. And then,
which was a whole nother battle in itself.
Yeah. So then during my pregnancy, you went to the academy towards the end.
Yes, I did. I left her alone.
And, I think it was, so the day you graduated, I had a doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
And I think at that appointment, my blood pressure was like sky high. My feet were swelling and it just like wasn't. I already knew.
Because she was so excited for me graduating.
Yeah, sure. But so he basically said like you're getting preeclampsia, like you're at the beginning stages of it. So he didn't want to chance like my blood pressure going any higher. So he just
for anyone who doesn't know what that is, can you explain that?
I mean, preeclampsia is just a condition that happens when you're pregnant. There's no like rhyme or reason to it. It just happens.
Yeah, luck of the draw kind of thing.
And it's better to get the baby out earlier than later. It can cause the mom a lot of harm. The baby can have a lot of harm. It's just a bad situation. But they try to like keep it at like a baseline if they can to get you to like 37 weeks. So the baby is pretty much healthy. Lungs are developed and ready to go. So, I had an induction at 37 weeks and, due to high blood pressure and all that good stuff. So I had a really long labor. Like it was just a long labor.
Yeah.
what it was at least 2 days, so for over 48 hours. I feel like
Yeah, it was
maybe not 48, but from Saturday morning till Sunday night.
So at least 36 hours
yeah,
or
something
so.
like that. But
It was a long time
my epidural
for her and me.
My epidural didn't work, or it worked really good from like
Most unlucky person on the planet.
yeah. So it worked really good from the time I got it up until like 8 centimeters, and then it
so
went.
They gave you the epidural because of the other thing they were going to have to do.
Yeah.
Right?
So I was supposed to get what they call a cook balloon, which is what you give somebody if you're inducing them and they're not really dilated, and you need to help that progression.
Yeah.
But that day in the office, I like wasn't dilated, so he was like, "We're probably gonna have to do this balloon." But I was like super scared, so I was like, "Is there a way I can like go ahead and get my epidural?" Like
Wrong decision.
I don't want to do this. And he was like, "I mean, yeah, I mean, if that's what you want." So that morning, I get there and they get all my blood work stuff going, and then they're like, "Okay, he's gonna come in and do your epidural." Up until that point, that was the worst pain I'd ever had in my life.
Can I tell this part?
Sure.
Listen. So, obviously, this is our first child. So, I had never experienced this before. But the doctor guy came in. She was all, mommed up and ready over there. And this doctor guy came in with his little tool bag and stuff. And he was like, he was super nice guy. I remember him being very tall and pretty like in shape. Yeah, like he looked like a very healthy guy. And he had his little mask on, and he was like, he was super nice, like talked to you very like
calmly. He knew
He was like, I'm here to do your epidural, and it's gonna be great. You're gonna be in no pain at all here in just a little bit. It's gonna be great. And I kid you guys not, this dude pulled this thing out of, all of the utensils and stuff are all like sterilized in like a plastic wrapper. He pulled this thing out, and it was like, and it just did not stop. He was pulling this thing out, and it looked like the handlebar on a bicycle. And I said, I'm just looking. I mean, I didn't say anything. I was just looking in amazement. And he ends up doing this thing. She's turned around on the side of the bed. She's like sitting off the side of the bed looking at me. I'm sitting on the couch because I can't do needles.
They literally told you to sit on the couch.
Like, I can't do
don't
needles.
Don't come near me.
I can't do needles at all. I can do blood and gore, but I can't do needles. And I remember looking in her face, and he stuck that handlebar into her back, and it was so huge. And thankfully, where she was sitting and where he was doing it, I couldn't see that part. But I knew by the look on her face of terror that it was
so painful.
Unreal. And I thank God the whole time that I'm not a woman.
But they say the numbing that they give you is what is so painful, not the actual epidural, because they say it's like a bee sting. But
hey,
I don't know if I didn't get that medication in the right spot or not, because I felt the bee sting and it hurt, but I could feel that catheter going down my spine.
Ooh.
And it like, because they tell you like don't move, and as soon as it happened, I jumped, and when I jumped, it's like a pain went down, and it's almost like it just like flicked a nerve that's like down to the right of my back, and still to this day it'll catch sometimes, and it is the worst pain. But anyways,
I bet.
So I got the epidural. It was working. I like was numb. I couldn't feel anything, which I wasn't even in pain yet.
I was everything but rag on the head, feet propped up.
So after they gave me the epidural, they were like, well, let's check you, see where you're at. And I said, okay. Well, then they checked me and was like, well, you're already 4 centimeters, so you don't even have to have a cook balloon. And I was like,
what?
So
in my mind, though, when that happened, I was like, oh, great.
Well, it is a good thing.
Maybe it'll be here in a few hours or something.
Well, I mean, that was a good thing because I didn't need that extra thing. But what's still wild to me is that my body went from 0 to 4 centimeters, and I never felt a contraction. Like, I didn't know in those days in between that was taking place.
Maybe your mind was like, yeah, we don't want that balloon thing, so
maybe
let's go ahead and get it ready.
I don't think that's what it was. I think it was Dr. T that made that happen.
Maybe so.
But anyways, so I was numb, and I done had this epidural, but then I didn't need the cook balloon anymore. So they were like, well, you won't be technically 37 weeks until midnight tonight on Sunday. So
and at that time it was still daylight.
I mean, it's 9:00 in the morning on Saturday. And they were like, well, you won't be 37 weeks until Sunday at midnight. So we can't give you Pitocin yet. So basically, you're just going to have to lay here and be numb.
And you can only get the epidural once, right?
I mean, they put it in once, but I mean, there's a continuous medication. Yeah. But, so I'm sitting here numb the whole entire Saturday because they can't speed it up because I'm not 37 weeks on the dot.
She was,
I was so mad.
From the belly button down, couldn't
feel anything.
Nothing.
So I was great. And then I was watching contractions.
That's every girl's dream in childbirth.
Yeah. I was like, this is perfect. Like, I'm not feeling anything.
Yeah.
And so finally midnight came around and they were ready. Because I mean, I had been there a whole day and nothing had happened really. And they came in at midnight, started Pitocin, and they came in every 10 minutes and bumped it up. I was still numb, going good. And then
the terror.
I didn't progress like super fast, but I was progressing. And then it was probably like 4 o'clock that afternoon, and I was like, I started to feel a little cramp, like a period cramp, and I was like, this doesn't really feel good. And they were like, oh, we'll roll you to one side. Sometimes you just gotta like move around.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And they moved me, and then the other side started cramping, so then they rolled me back over.
I remember hearing one of the nurses say, you really shouldn't be feeling all that.
Yeah.
and I knew in that moment, I said, this is about to get bad.
So I was numb for like 2 whole days. And then at that point, they were like, well, let's check you. Maybe you're close. I was 8 centimeters. So I still needed 2 more to go.
Yeah.
And I think I feel like it was in a 30-minute time frame and went from like period cramp to I cannot do this. It was horrible. It was excruciating. And they were giving me like the peanut ball in between my legs, like trying to turn me. Like it was not working.
Yeah.
And I kept like hitting my button for like another dose. And they were like, you can only hit it once every 10 or 20 minutes.
Yeah,
and
like
I mean, I was watching the clock. Like, when can I press it again?
Yeah.
And nothing was working, and it just got worse and worse. And finally I was like, okay, so I've got to do something. I can't continue to lay here like this. And they said, well, you're almost there. We can start practice pushing. And I feel like that discouraged me so much because I said, practice pushing?
We talking about practice?
I'm not practicing nothing. She's got to come out right now. I can't do this. But I ended up continuing to do that for almost 4 hours. So it took like.
Now, was that was at the point where we were like holding your legs and stuff?
Yeah. So it was like
real quick. So in all the TV shows and stuff, you know, and that's all I had to go on because I'd never had a child before. I just imagined or thought that they would have like something for her legs to like go up on.
They do once
for this process.
No.
But they were like, all right, Dad, you come on, you get one leg. And then her mom was there, and they were like, you get Becky, you get the other leg. And I was like, what? What do you mean?
So because
Can we not
of
prop
this,
them up on something?
No, because you have to have like the reverse pressure.
Buddy, I'm telling you, you got it.
Yeah. So anyways, I pushed for like 3.5, 4 hours, and I
which seemed like 1,000.
Yeah, because I genuinely, and now looking back, I cannot even believe that I said that, but I remember like gripping the bed rails and was like, please God, please let me die.
Yeah. You weren't just, you were telling the doctors that.
Yeah. Like I said, I can't, I'm going to die. Like I can't.
She was like, please, just let me die, God. And I was like, my wife is begging for death in here.
Yeah. So,
what a time to be alive,
that was horrible. So finally, they were like, all right, Dr. T's on his way. Like, you just hang on. Don't push.
Oh, buddy.
And then that like really pissed me off because I was like, I can't not push. I don't care if he's here or not. Somebody better catch her because she is coming out. I can't do this.
She was coming out all
And
right.
he literally walked in. They threw a gown on him and he put a glove on, sat down, and he like grabbed part of her head.
I watched that part.
And just like turned her and just.
Well, he turned her head a little bit, and then like her head was out.
Yeah.
And I seen him. He basically put his finger in her armpit.
Yeah.
And just bloop.
Yeah.
And she just.
And I remember.
Like a big booger.
I remember in that moment, it was like, I felt like whoosh, like she came out, but it's like it didn't register right then because I was like, wait a minute. And then, I mean, she was crying.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know. It's like I didn't realize that it was over.
Yeah.
And, it was horrible. I said some
time.
really ugly things.
You did. Yeah.
And
she
so
was
then,
very mean.
Yeah. So,
which you had a right to be, but.
Yeah. So then Joe was born and she had a fever. And they didn't know why.
Oh God, it was so bad.
And, I had to like get stitched and all that good stuff. And, it wasn't known for that either.
Yeah, it wasn't known for that either.
So then they gave me pain medication and it didn't kick in until after he was done.
Yeah.
And I completely lost consciousness and blacked out for probably 2 hours?
No. You kind of did, but she's
because she was born at 10:14 that night.
Haley said,
and
I remember this. You said you told the doctors when you woke up from that, it was like an hour or two or something.
Yeah.
You were like, when did they move us to this other room? And I was like, Haley, this is the same room you just gave birth to your child.
I was like, no,
I mean,
it's
everything's the same. You're still sitting there exactly where you did it at. And she was like, this is a different room.
I remember that because it was so vividly
like,
different.
Haley, this is not a different room. Literally, the utensils are still on the table. Like,
I don't know. I remember that though. I remember waking up and feeling like
I was idea.
Not in the same place. I was so kind of scared, honestly. And then it hit me. I was like, "Where's my child?"
Throughout the whole process, from beginning to end, I had no clue what to do.
Yeah. Well, I think it still kind of makes me mad because, like, right after she was born, I mean, I got like probably 30 seconds of like her on me.
Yeah.
And then she had to get weighed and all that stuff, and I had to get stitched.
And they gave her to me.
And they gave her to you. I mean, which was fine. But when I passed out, looking back on it, it makes me sad because I'm like, that was the first 2 hours. And I remember feeling like enraged because you got that with her. And I did not. And I was just so confused. I feel like I woke up in a different world.
Are you about to cry right now just thinking about it?
Yes.
You look like your eyes are like red watery.
I know. I can feel it. I'm trying not to though. But yeah. So had her, whatever. Immediately after I had her though, my blood pressure came down. And they were like, this is normally what happens. This is good. You're on the right track. We're still going to keep you on blood pressure medicine, blah, blah, blah. We ended up being in the hospital with Joe for like 4 days because they couldn't figure out where her fever was coming from. She had to have IV antibiotics, all this stuff.
It was awful.
And
her poor little arm looked terrible.
Yeah, that was awful. So we finally get to go home, and we were home for literally like one night. First night home, trying to figure out everything.
Yeah.
And the next day,
we had the family
my
over.
mom. No, I think we were home. We came home on a Thursday, so we had like 2 or 3 nights.
Yeah.
And then that Sunday, So it was exactly 1 week because she was born on a Sunday. She was 1 week old. And my mom came over and let us go to Walmart just to like have a minute.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling it in Walmart. I mean, my feet were swollen, which they told me was going to happen, but they were really swollen.
Yeah.
And
They were.
I remember feeling like my back hurts so bad. But then, I mean, I also just had epidural and I just had child labor. And that next day after I had her, every muscle in my body was sore from straining and pushing for that long. Yeah, I didn't know. And I just did not feel good. And I remember we got home and you or mom were like, you should really check your blood pressure. And so I went in my room and checked it, and it was like 200 over 110.
Crazy.
And it's like panic set in because I was terrified. I was like, I'm going to stroke out. Like, it cannot be this high.
Yeah.
And I was taking all my medication like religiously. And then I was like crying hysterically because I'm postpartum. And
it was a mess.
So then you were like, I'm calling an ambulance.
Yeah.
And then I did not want that. I was like, please God, don't do that. But my mom was like, no, you've got to be checked out. And then they came and they rechecked it and it was even higher at that point. And he was like, honey, I know you don't want to go, but you're no good to your baby if you're dead.
That's a true story.
And that wrecked me. And so the whole way in this ambulance ride, I'm like hysterically, can't stop crying. They're checking my blood pressure every 2 minutes. It just keeps getting higher. Cause I couldn't calm down.
Yeah.
We get to the ER and they immediately start like running all these tests. They took me for a CT. They put an IV in and hooked fluids up to me because that's like standard in the ER.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden this doctor comes running in and he's like, no, don't give her any fluids, cut it off. And I was like, what the heck? And he was like, she needs no fluid. Like, no, she has too much fluid in her body.
Yeah.
And I was so confused and still hysterically crying and hyperventilating. And then finally this doctor comes in and he's like, no, you're in postpartum congestive heart failure.
And we were like,
and I'm telling you, I felt like my world, I don't know. I was so scared. And then
you can cry if you need to.
I'm trying not to.
Your eyes are like a river right now.
I know. But,
I don't have any tissues, but
it's okay. So they said that, and then I started freaking out because I'm like, I just had a baby, like I'm gonna die. It was like the end of the world. And then they wouldn't let her in there. Yeah. Because it was like still COVID and all that stuff. So my mom had her for like 3 days, I think is what it was. But they gave me all this medication and drained all the fluid off of me, and it kind of went down, and I had to have all this tests done.
They drained a ton of fluid off of you.
Yeah, it was a lot, but they ended up in 24 or 48 hours, they drained almost 30 pounds of fluid off of me. It was crazy. It was crazy. I left out of that hospital looking like a completely different person. Did. I just didn't realize how swollen I was at the time. And so they had to do a bunch of tests, and I didn't have any permanent heart damage at the time. They just told me it was going to take a long time for my heart to recover, but overall, I would be okay. So I had to do a bunch of tests even after the fact, after we were discharged from that. And I remember going to the heart doctor, and he was like, so are you going to have any more kids? And I said, well, I mean, I don't know. You're asking me freshly postpartum. I'm going to say no, because that was horrific and I don't want to do that again. And he said, well, good. I would advise you not to. And I was like, what? And he said, if you're not going to have any more, you need to get your tubes tied or vasectomy or something. He said, I do not recommend you to have any more kids. And that I don't know. It's like
That's a tough thing
it's
to
like
hear.
I knew, or I was saying that I didn't want any more kids, but that was my decision.
Yeah. It's like they made it for you.
Yeah, but then when somebody else tells you like, no, you don't need to have any more, that was kind of hard.
Yeah.
But
It's okay.
do this.
It's okay. I know.
Worst topic ever to start with.
And so whenever we had that, she called me and was telling me, and I was like, "What the heck?" Because we were. I mean, I won't say very much, but we were very open to the possibility of having more kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I always wanted like a big family and stuff, and she did. You did too.
Yeah.
And we were kind of, together on that. And then that was kind of like a curveball out of left field that we just were like, what the heck? And your ring keeps hitting it.
Yeah. But I think he told me that he didn't recommend it, and he said, yeah, you didn't have any permanent damage this time, but there's no guarantee that next time you wouldn't have permanent damage. He said, if you happen to get pregnant, like we know about it, we can try to stay on top of it. He said, but the likelihood of this happening again is like extremely high.
Yeah.
And then I'm all for, a lot of people don't like super, like honest doctors. Like they want them to like hold their hand and like tell them it's going to be okay. But I'm not that person.
Yeah. You want them to be blatant and
I
honest
need it.
with you.
I need to hear it raw.
Blunt.
And he basically said, you just need to make the decision. Do you want to live a shorter life? Or no, he said, do you want to live a long life with your one kid and watch her grow up? Or do you want to die young to give her a sibling? And that, like...
What an awful thing to say to a postpartum mom, you know?
Yeah, and it was postpartum. And so it was just...
You were already an emotional wreck.
Yeah. So, and I didn't want to take it at face value. So I talked to,
Yeah, I remember you didn't tell me right off.
Yeah, I went and talked to my OB, and he was like, I don't think so. Like, if you want a family, like, we'll make it work. Like, if you want to add on, like, we can stay on top of it. But then I went and saw another cardiologist, and he was like, you can have another one. Like, physically, you can.
But it's a gamble.
But you're really gambling. And so I don't know. I don't know if you did or not, but I prayed about it a lot. And
Oh, yeah. Oh, I prayed.
Yeah. It just wasn't.
I didn't really pray for an answer. I just prayed.
I prayed for peace about it.
I just prayed for you because ultimately it's going to be your decision because you're the oven. You know what I mean?
It's your decision. It's my decision, but
it's our decision.
Technically, it's your decision because
that's true.
A horrible case scenario, I could still get pregnant.
Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, we ended up. I didn't want to go through any more trauma with my body.
Yeah.
So Kendall decided to get a vasectomy.
Yeah. And I was totally on board for this because I was not as strong as I thought I was. When we had this baby, I was ready. I was Rambo'd up. Like I'm changing diapers. I'm in it. I'm here. I want a family. I'm gonna do this.
You were.
I know I was, but the toll that those things, and I didn't fully understand how difficult it is to have an infant child.
That newborn
and the
stage is rough.
The lack of sleep and the shifts and while working at the same time, like that was it wasn't
rough.
Too much for me, but it was almost that.
Yeah.
And
it's
that
like,
really I ain't gonna say scared me, but like it was way different than I thought it was going to be. And there's not a thing in this world I would trade for my daughter.
Yeah.
And if we could go back and do it, I would do it again the same way we did it. But I was not ready for taking care of a infant.
Yeah.
And I feel better now because obviously we're past that. But
Oh, yeah. And it's different because I remember being in the thick of it and you were like, God, I just can't wait till she can like walk, or I can't wait till she can talk or just tell us what she wants or needs. And now she literally walks, talks,
and
doesn't
does
hush.
not shut up. Does not shut
She does
up.
all the things that you were so ready
Yeah.
for her to do.
Yeah. And I love this stage.
Yeah.
I do.
You do. You're thriving
I'm living
in the stage.
this.
And I'm growing.
Me and her I wanted her to get to the age where me and her can like go in the kitchen and do things and like cook together
there.
and stuff. And she's there and we have a blast.
Yeah. I've grown to love this stage more. I think I just love babies in general.
Yeah.
But
I see I'm not that person.
Well,
I thought
you're
I was,
a man,
but I
so
thought
I mean-
but I thought that I was. That's why I said.
But I think
it
it's
was just strange
natural
for me.
for the man to not love the newborn phase.
So-
I mean, I don't know that anybody truly loves the newborn stage, but especially if you're on your first kid or if it's your
Yeah.
only kid, it goes by so
Yeah.
quick.
And then
But
the
it
thought
doesn't
of the
feel like
thought
it.
of doing all that again,
Yeah.
just like it was like almost like God was like, "Hey, guy, it's okay, you're gonna
Yeah.
get a vasectomy." And I was like, "Where do I sign?"
Yeah.
Not in a way that like I hated my child or taking care of it, but I was just like, new career, infant.
Yeah.
I just don't, no sleep. I can't do all of that.
Yeah, it was a lot. But
So anyway, I went and got snipped.
yeah.
So I joined the club.
Yeah, I feel like that is like a secret
It
club.
is.
Y'all
It's
are
a
all
club.
in. It's like
It's
a pride thing.
It is. It's a level of freedom you can't purchase. Well, you can purchase it, and we did.
I was about to say we
So,
definitely did. We paid
yeah,
for it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That was not a good time. But anyway, that's another story for another time.
we will tell that
We
story.
will tell that story eventually.
But yeah, so we won't unless literally a miracle has to happen, and I've told everybody that I know of if Haley comes up pregnant. I mean, one, I'm gonna be terrified. But two, if he allowed that to happen after you've had a vasectomy, which it happens all the time.
Let's not say all.
Not all the time, but I've seen it a lot on social media. If that was to ever happen, I would truly have to believe that. I mean, one, it's a God thing because it would be a miracle.
Oh, of course.
But I don't think I would worry as much as I want to say that I would, because I would know like this is happening because God is allowing it, and He's gonna take care of me and the baby
for sure.
But it's like at the same time, I'm gonna control what I can control.
Yeah.
Until God doesn't want me to have control of it.
Yeah.
Which I don't know.
No, I get you.
I don't think that didn't sound very good. But I'm going to control what I'm going to control.
But
No.
God, I mean, it's not like, and that's what irks me when people say all the time, like just let Jesus take the wheel, let Him do it. Like, yeah, that's great. But sometimes Jesus gives you
the guidance to make the decision.
Yeah, like
you have to
ultimately,
make the decision.
I mean, if I sit at home and don't clock in and don't go to work, we're not going to have money.
Yeah.
So Jesus says,
and then saying God's going to provide.
God's going to provide.
No. He gave you the ability to go to work and make the money.
Yeah, God has provided me a job to wake up and go clock into
Right.
and go to.
Yeah.
So like I think there's a high amount of decisions in your life that you have to make.
Yeah, for sure.
And God has given you the opportunity to make them. Whether we make the right decision or not is up to us.
Yeah, and
So it's more like Jesus cranks the car sometimes,
You just got to drive it.
Yeah, you got to drive it sometimes.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And I think I feel like I've accepted that. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like, when people say, like, oh, when you having another one, like, for a while it, like, would make me upset internally. Like, I wouldn't show it, but it would make me feel some type of way.
Yeah.
But now I don't really, that doesn't really bother me as much. I think the only thing, I guess I would say, I'm still like grieving, is the knowing that I'll never experience pregnancy again.
Yeah.
because I
You
enjoyed
did. You
being
had
pregnant.
You had
it was
a very
great.
pleasant pregnancy.
So it's like if I could just be pregnant again
Yeah.
and not go through the labor
Y'all, I'm
and
telling
the
you,
stress on my heart.
this girl would come in from work. This was back when she was still working full time, and she would come in from work at what 6. She'd be asleep by 7:30. I mean,
Wouldn't even eat
and I
dinner.
ain't talking about like fall asleep on the couch napping. I'm talking about like
Come in,
gone.
take a shower, go to bed.
Come in, eat, take a shower, go to bed.
Half time I wouldn't even eat. I would just be so tired.
Yeah. I only seen her she only seen me probably 3 or 4 days in her whole pregnancy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was.
I mean, between being tired and then, I mean, my feet started swelling a little bit. That was really the worst symptoms I
mean,
had.
you never really had any like bunch of sickness. Or
I never threw
like
up,
that.
not once. Even in labor,
Some people think that's crazy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know another person that didn't throw up while they were pregnant, but I did not.
Yeah.
And I consider myself blessed.
Did you have any weird cravings? I can't remember.
I went through like a week time frame where I ate sprees.
Oh yeah, till your mouth was
Till
raw.
my mouth was raw.
I think I'm the one that had all the cravings.
Yeah. The only things I really wanted was fruit and sub sandwiches. But you're not really supposed to eat like deli meat.
You'd have to get it toasted and stuff.
Yeah, but I hated toasted subs, so I just had to go and like get the meat warmed.
So bougie.
Yeah.
That's such a pregnant
But
woman
Sobeys
thing
knew.
to do.
Sobeys knew.
They knew.
Brooke came through. Every time I go in there on my lunch break, she'd be like, "You're not toasted, right?" She knew. She knew I was pregnant. She was like, "I just got to heat it for her."
That's funny. Yeah, I think this is really irrelevant to the topic, but it's true that sometimes when a woman is pregnant, the man will have certain symptoms. Like,
yeah, you also gain weight.
Yeah, like so, all of the like normal pregnancy stuff outside of the sickness, I got it, and she didn't.
So there's like an old wives' tale. I don't know.
Wives' tale,
where if you're pregnant and if we're both laying in the bed, if I was to roll over you and get up off of your side of the bed, it's something about if you roll over your husband while you're pregnant, you give them your symptoms.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, well, I had for sure haven't done that, but Kendall definitely has all of them. You had all these weird cravings.
Yeah, I was like gaining weight. I was having like super crazy
because like
nightmares.
my whole pregnancy, I only gained 25 pounds start to finish, and I didn't even gain it until like the end.
And I was having like really bad nightmares. I was eating really weird stuff. Like I was eating beets out of the can.
Yeah, it was
like
so weird. You were like, these are so good.
Olives out of the jar, like just weird things.
I think the only time I ever felt nauseous was that day you brought a hot dog home from the gas station.
Oh,
It was like, do you want this? And when you put it in front of my face, I was like, no, I don't.
Get this out of my face.
And still to this day, I don't like hot dogs.
Yeah, we've had some bad experiences.
Yeah.
With hot dogs.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, excuse you.
Sorry about that.
It's you this time.
I know.
haven't
I'm
done
sorry. It's the symptom thing again. I'm getting them all.
Yeah, watch. I'll yawn in just a second.
You probably will. Well, you've been so passionately into what you were talking about. You haven't had time
I
to
hate
yawn.
that. Why did we pick this topic for like the first time we video?
I don't know.
I'm like, I haven't cried on camera since we started.
I mean, we haven't been on camera.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, I haven't cried during any of them.
Yeah.
So, well, no, except for when you were talking about those police officers.
Yeah. That's true.
But besides the point.
Yeah, besides the point.
You just better cut this film to point at you.
That's a negative.
Yeah.
We're gonna get all your emotional.
Please don't.
Captivated.
Gosh, don't.
So Haley said that the only way she would agree to do this is that if I just didn't tell her and just did it, you know.
What do you mean?
As far as like, because you're so like, I want to see the camera angle. I need to see this. I need to see that, and it's just like,
I can't know at this point.
yeah, just don't know, and you'll see it.
And I'm never gonna watch it. I'll only listen to it.
You'll see it online eventually. That's funny. So yeah, that's your story, and that is why we are not having any more kids of our own.
Yeah. We've like talked very lightly
very lightly.
Yeah, about like maybe one day like adopting or something.
Yeah.
But our house isn't at a capacity for that.
Yeah, it's a true story. But yeah, so that's our childbirth story.
Yeah,
Well, it's really your childbirth story.
yeah, pretty much.
It's our
But
story.
there are so many moms or pregnant women, whatever, either pregnant now or have already had them, that have had preeclampsia and have had somewhat of the same issues happen. And it's way more common than you think.
Yeah.
Like I remember after I had Joe, a lot of people reached out and wanted to know like what happened, and they were like, well, this is my story. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not the only one that went into heart failure.
Yeah.
But
let me ask you this. So a couple of questions, since this is your topic of expertise.
oh gosh.
2 questions. First one is, if you could go back and handle the situation any differently, like from the moment you went to the hospital
Yeah.
to the end, how is there anything that you would do differently?
I would have made them check me as soon as I got there. So that way I would have known I was 4 centimeters, and I would have not gotten my epidural.
I figured you were going to say that part.
Like, I would like to say that I wouldn't have gotten it at all.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I didn't have it when I actually needed it. So
Yeah.
I know what it feels like to go through it.
Without it.
But I think I would have tried to labor differently because I had the epidural so early. And basically once you have the epidural, they won't let you get out of the bed.
Yeah.
Because it's a liability thing. But I would have held off on that and walked. Like, they'll let you walk the floor in the hospital when you're in labor if you haven't had epidural. I would have done more things, like, on my own to try to help the process.
Yeah.
And, I mean, this will be a controversial thing, but knowing now what I didn't know then, I wouldn't have signed for any of Joe's shots.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that.
Now here's another question for someone who might be listening somewhere out there, who is getting ready to have their first baby, and the guy is in my shoes, has absolutely no idea what to expect, and the girl has talked to a million people who've birthed a child like you did. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to a first-time mother who is about to give birth?
I would say have a birth plan, because that's become like a big thing right now. I didn't have a birth plan. I just said, the Lord, whatever's going to happen, it's going to happen.
What is a birth plan?
It's basically like writing out what you expect, what you want to take place, like whether you do or don't want an epidural, if you want to take a bath when you're in labor, like, so your nurses and your doctor know what you want.
Yeah.
But I say that with caution, because it's okay to have a birth plan, but do not feel chained to that, because things are going to happen out of your control. And if it doesn't go as planned, you need to have acceptance of that, and don't like beat yourself up over it, because I didn't have you don't want to after the fact be like, well, my birth plan didn't go as planned, because that's what 99% of the time happens.
Yeah. Just kind of gives you something to fall into to help you.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But I would say, write out your birth plan, what you want, what you don't want, so your doctors and nurses know. But go in open-minded and go in with no expectations. Yeah. Because every single person that I knew, or I mean still know, that had a baby before me, all of my friends, they all had pretty much the best labor birth story possible. Like, they went in, they contracted, got an epidural, They were numb. They pushed for about 30 minutes, maybe an hour.
Yeah.
And baby was here. And so I was going into it thinking, this is what's going to happen. She's going to get here. And I told myself from the get-go, because I remember that morning going to the hospital, you were like, why are you so calm? Because I was not like freaking out. I was not really nervous. I was just kind of like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
And because you were really nervous. And I
was very nervous.
I just remember, like, all I could think about was,
I was trying to be strong for you.
I knew once I go into this hospital, I am not leaving until I have her. Like, she will come one way or another. Whether I push her out or they have to cut her out of me, whichever way.
Yeah.
I knew, I put it in my head that one of these ways has to happen. And it just like, I didn't worry about it. And I tried not to get myself worked up about it. And I do that with anything that I know is going to bring me pain in life. And I know you're going to think this is crazy, but I did the same thing with any tattoo that I've gotten, any piercing, whatever. I tell myself, it's only going to last for X amount of time. You can do anything for this amount of time. It will not kill you.
That's what I tell myself.
Granted,
that's what I tell myself about work.
Now, granted, it almost killed me. Just, I don't know. It can, birth and labor can be beautiful. It really can.
And for most of our friends,
most of my friends, it has been.
An angelic story.
But I'm a very realistic person. I feel like some people like to say pessimistic, but I say you expect the worst and you hope for the best. So that way you never really are disappointed.
Yeah.
Because if you're expecting it to be kind of rough, when it's rough, you'll
be a little more ready for it.
I knew that was coming. But then if it turns out to be like the smoothest thing ever, you're like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I hoped for.
Yeah.
So you're not really disappointed either way.
Yeah. I tell myself that same thing about work, that no matter how bad the night sucks, it's only going to last 12 hours. It's coming to an end. There's an end.
I literally tell myself that with everything.
Yeah.
And it sucks in labor because you just keep telling yourself that, like, it's going to come to an end. She is going to come out, whatever. You just don't really know how long.
Yeah. You don't know how long it's going to take.
And, like, looking back, I wish I would have, one thing I would tell moms, when you're in labor and you're pushing, I know this is going to sound weird, but ask for a mirror. I didn't get a mirror.
Yeah, so you can see it?
Yeah, and then they basically hold a mirror at the end of the bed, so as you're pushing, you can see what is taking place. Because I know that sounds like horrifying, but I remember the nurse that I had, she was super real with me, and she was like, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to get her out. You've just got to, you have to do it. Yeah, she was really good. She was like, she's not coming unless you do it. And they were telling me how to push, like trying to explain it. And I pushed for what felt like probably the first 2 hours. And they were like, you're not understanding. Like, you've got to like push. I don't even know how to explain it anymore. But once it clicked and that first time I pushed, I felt her move down.
Yeah.
And then it's like a light bulb went off. And now I've told friends since that have had babies.
Yeah.
I've told them that. And I said, get a mirror. And it really does make a difference. Because if you can feel that happening and you're also seeing it, you're seeing their head.
Yeah.
It's motivation because like, oh my God, I'm this close. Like, I got to keep going.
Yeah.
And I remember the nurses, like, you push to the count of 10 and then you take a break. And they would be like, they'd get to 10 and be like, you need a break? And I'd be like, nope, keep going. I'm not stopping. I got to get her out. It hurts so bad.
Yeah.
But it's not painful.
Yeah. It's not
it's going to hurt.
It's not the most joy-filled story, but it is your story.
Yeah. So, and I know there's other moms out there that have had horrible birth stories. So I know I'm not the only one, but at the time it felt like I was because all of my friends had like perfect labors.
Yeah.
But yeah, ask for a mirror and have no expectations.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you did it, babe. You told
Yeah.
it. So anyway, that is why we are not having any more children.
Yeah.
So anyway, this was a bit of a different kind of episode, but it's our first one on camera, so we might as well make it
Might as well make it a waterworks story.
impactful, you know. I know normally we do a Bible fact thing at the end, and I kind of have one.
Okay.
Because yours was last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm going to do a future Bible fact prediction, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but
All right. So tonight we were at church. We went in the youth because when we are available, which is very rarely, we try to help out in the youth. And I haven't been very good at it as of late, but we're getting in there. We're doing it. Anyway, so we were helping out with the youth, and one of our friends, Justin, was teaching because the youth pastor is on vacation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they on vacation?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so he taught about
Your favorite story.
Yeah, my favorite story. Jairus' daughter, and anyway, I don't get into that, but he told how do you explain it? So he had a thing from Israel that he got called a talith.
Talit. No th, just talit.
Are you sure?
With a T.
Okay. Either way, it was called a
I
talith
think.
or something. I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Justin, you can correct me. But anyway, it was a really cool story, and I'm not going to try to re-explain it, but he connected it with the story of the woman with the issue of blood touching Jesus' garment,
Mm-hmm.
and how in the Old Testament it talked about it prophesied about Jesus,
Malachi.
in Malachi, that he would come with healings in his wings, and how that thing that they wear over there it's a super cool story.
Yeah.
And I'm saying it here and now so that maybe he'll hear it.
Okay.
I would love for him to come and do that Bible fact one day and just be on the podcast for an episode.
Yeah.
Maybe him and Sarah.
Yeah.
If they're willing. But I think that was a really cool story, and I don't want to butcher it, so I'm not going to tell it.
Right.
But I think it was a really cool Bible fact, and it would be very appropriate for something like this because we can talk about it, talk it out. It's not like, he's standing on a podium or something. He can actually explain it.
Yeah.
And we can talk about it. So I think it would be cool.
That would be
so
cool.
Justin, if you're out there listening, we need to get you on the podcast one day.
Yeah, that would be cool. I feel like a lot of people need to know that too.
Yeah, it was really cool. I'd never heard it before. So anyway, there's that. But that's all I have. Episode 20. What do you think, babe? You good?
Yeah.
You need to go wipe your eyes some more?
I need to go to bed.
You need to go to bed? All right, guys, listen. Episode 20 is in the books. We will be back next week with episode number 21. And thank you guys who are all watching it on YouTube. And
it's okay if you don't.
It's okay.
Just listen to it on Spotify.
It is okay if you don't. If you want to reach out to us with a topic idea or something you want to hear us talk about, you can reach out on Facebook page. You can reach out on Instagram, TikTok, or you can email us at totallyworthitpod@gmail.com. So feel free to utilize any of those. And thank you guys for the support so far. And we're on a bit of a new journey with the YouTube stuff. So thank you again, and we love you. And we will see you in episode number 21.